Hi, it's Tuesday, the 12th of November, and we're here to look at the current astrology. So, what I'm going to do straight away is go to the chart so that we can look at this together. Okay, so the big news coming up is most definitely the moon is going to oppose the sun. The moon will be in Taurus, the sun will be in Scorpio, and so we have a Taurus full moon. And that's, I guess, the big news because it's very close. The moon at the moment is at 6 degrees of Aries in the sign preceding Taurus. It moves at about 12 degrees a day. So in 2 days, it's actually in Taurus. And at that point, we start to get the massive intensification that happens before the actual full moon. And of course, I need to remind you that it's not on the day of the full moon that you get the most impact. It's a couple of days before or the day before, and that's because of the bow wave. It's like a ship, really. There's all that water's being pushed out of the way. Okay, right. Now, we've got a couple more things going on. The Mercury has just squared Saturn. What that always tends to mean, actually, is that we get this mental down depression. It's pushing Mercury into a place where Mercury doesn't really want to be because Mercury doesn't really belong in the element of Earth, and Saturn is an Earth planet. So when we get that Saturnian, rigid, boundaried, structured impact, and currently Mercury is in Sagittarius, and so really wanting to fly high, move quickly. When Saturn comes along and suddenly grabs a hold of Mercury, then Mercury, as representative of our communication, how we think, what we notice, and news, it also represents, can you believe, siblings and short journeys. That's the way astrology goes. They're all connected, believe me. Anyway, so because of Mercury's current position in Sagittarius, the last thing it wanted was Saturn suddenly going halt and backing it into a corner. And what that does is it stops Mercury's flight. Mercury is normally a real Peter Pan. It might as well be a Tinkerbell because it's going here, there, and everywhere, flitting around, looking for something to notice, looking to something to pick up and read, looking for information, forever looking around and looking for the information. Well, when it can't do that, then it gets flattened, I think is a good word, and it gets sort of pushed into submission. And at that point, if you're influenced by Mercury, so if you're a Virgo sun sign or if you're a Gemini sun sign, then you really do feel as if you're being pushed into this quite boring and depressed place. It's like being put in a jail cell for a couple of days. So it doesn't feel great. The only thing I can say, and here's a positive bit to it, is it's the only time that Mercury actually stops and has to pause. And therefore, there are things that Mercury can notice when it is slowed down that it doesn't see when it's much faster. So you may have found that although things have been difficult to sort out or think about or arrive at a conclusion with, something has been difficult to work through in your mind. But in actual fact, that slowing down has been done for a purpose because what happens is that it's made you think more thoroughly. It's made you think more heavily. It's made you concentrate more. And consequently, although it may have held things up and you might not have felt as lively as you want to, it nevertheless was probably having a good effect. Okay, I'll just go back to the share again now and we'll pick up something else. Right. Okay, so Venus has just moved into Capricorn. Now, this is doubling up, right? The impact of Capricorn and its ruler Saturn. So Venus and Mercury are the sun's henchmen. They never leave the side of the sun. They're never more than 40 degrees away. You can't get a Sun-Venus opposition. You can't get a Sun-Mercury opposition. These two planets stay close to the sun. I think the best you can get is a semi-square from Venus. Anyway, so if the two of them together are being influenced by Capricorn Saturn, then that tends to double up really on the effect. So it can be quite, it's all a bit of a drag. It's all a bit of an effort. Okay, but the same really applies. If Venus is being put into Capricorn, then there is something about taking time, pondering, relishing and getting satisfaction from something which it has a monetary value. So Venus tends to attract things to it, and it is actually known as a representative of money, but it attracts pleasure. What it's actually after is a pleasurable time. So in Capricorn, then it's attracting status, anything that can confer status. And actually, money obviously is the biggest symbolism for status. Anybody that's got money is considered to be a very high status. They have achieved. So Venus in Capricorn wants to protect and preserve and build anything that has value, monetary value, anything that has value in terms of getting envy from others or admiring glances from others. So about living in the right house, in the right neighborhood, with the right BMW in the car park. Capricorn tends to be about anything that symbolizes aspiration and success. There you go. Okay, right. So, yeah, just a glance at the Mars-Pluto opposition, just for a moment. The move into the fixed signs of Aquarius and Leo. If you remember that the Mars-Pluto opposition, just stop sharing, Mars-Pluto opposition actually has 3 hits. So it's going to be with us for 2 or 3 months, something like that. 3 months, I think. Or anyway, the first hit that we had was actually in the signs of Capricorn and Cancer, feminine signs, and the next 2 will be in Leo and Aquarius. So we're moving from feminine cardinal into fixed masculine. I suspect that I know what this is about, actually, because if you've followed my work for a while, you'll know that I was hot on the fact that we're in the period where the feminine is rising. This started prior to the virus, the pandemic. And actually, the pandemic was a symbol of the rising feminine because everything was made to stop in its tracks and retreat to its home and stay there. Such a feminine thing. And then we had a large container ship trapped in one of the canals, and that stopped commerce as well. So it was all there, the signs of feminine stopping all the growth, the masculine growth. Anyway, so we are in the rise of the feminine, and the age of Aquarius. The rise of the feminine is balancing the age of Aquarius. Okay, so Pluto going into Aquarius, symbolizing the age of Aquarius, means that Aquarius will be tested, routed out, to make sure that its DNA, if you like, let's call it that, is fit for purpose for generative growth for the generation, the procreation and the growth and the furthering of the Aquarian values and ideals, archetype, energy. So that will produce some examination of masculine and yang. Okay, this makes perfect sense to me. We've been in a time where the feminine has really gone as far as it can in the endeavor of the rise of the feminine, but it's not going to be a straight line. It's going to be kind of like that. So there are periods where feminine is improving, if that's what you want to call it, or is changing, and then it can't go any further without a change of attitude from masculine. Masculine has now to adjust. And so consequently, there is now an adjustment shown by Pluto moving into Aquarius. Mars is going to boost this. So right from the start, we're going to get this. So masculine has to have an adjustment because feminine can't get enough elbow room, if you see what I mean. Masculine has to accommodate the feminine, and so it has to make changes. So I think that's really what it's all about. And once masculine has had a thorough going over by Pluto, then it will have done the work that it needs to do to accommodate the rise in feminine, the change in the whole world, the dimension, the universe, everything that we're aware of. And then we will get the rise of the feminine coming back again. So it'll be that kind of thing. Okay. Right. I think did I look at everything there? I'm going to take 1 second to just to see. I'm looking at the chart now, but I haven't shared it with you. I'm just going to check that I have got everything there. Yeah. Okay, I will do the full moon in Taurus tomorrow, I think. I looked at it and thought this needs a whole 20 minutes to itself, so we'll do it tomorrow, hey? Right, coming back to you. I hope that was useful. The work I'm doing on the horoscope or chart for Donald Trump's new presidency is coming along. It's got some fascinating stuff in it. I am pausing around Quora a lot. This dwarf planet has not been unpacked properly. I had a look online about the things that are present, what astrologers are saying, etc. No one's gone into any great depth. We're all just copying the same. It's like a copy and paste that everybody's doing. So I'm going back to the origins. I'm going deep down into the indigenous tribe, the Tongva tribe, which Quawa was the sky god, the creator god for. And it's going to take a little more time, but it's going to be well worth it. There is something so primordial about this dwarf planet. Just looking at the proper myth in depth, the long myth, is just like reading a scientific explanation of quantum physics about excited particles coming together. And science says these were weird excitations of energy. It almost says the same thing. And so this energy is brought together, and then just suddenly Quawa is singing and performing and dancing. What it means is Quawa is getting more energetic. And then from that massive energetic burst, there is the Big Bang, the sudden arrival of our dimension out of energy. This is, well, the fact that it reads just like the science is sort of mind-blowing to me. There is something very much deeper here than we just have the flimsy sort of surface myth of. So a fantastic lady called Terry is actually emailed me from Los Angeles and said, "Hey, I happen to know a bit about this." And she's been amazing, fantastic with contacts and stuff. And so thanks to her, I'm probably going to get way more than I could have done. And I'm really getting excited about it now. It's not just for the Donald Trump um, taking the presidency chart. It's also to, again, once again, do the research that comes in as the baseline for a dwarf planet that I didn't cover in my first book about them because it hadn't been named, hadn't been announced. And so to do it now is a real privilege. So I'm really enjoying it. And thank you for being around. And I'm going to say goodbye now. And I'm going to say thank you for listening. I'm sorry I wasn't available yesterday. I was coming down with something, and you know when you get that that coughing and the constant sneezing, I thought I can't make a video. I'll be coughing and sneezing right the way through it. But I've managed to dose myself up with enough lemon and honey to get rid of the symptoms. So hopefully they'll stay gone. So apologies for not doing it tomorrow. Lovely to see you again. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye bye.